all of you to my YouTube channel, Animals and Pets with Partho. Today's episode is going to be about dog shows that are going to start shortly in this country. Dog shows are now held all across the year. In the earlier times, it was primarily an outdoor sport, and it all started after the Diwali, when the weather got cooler all across the country, and then, of course, only in the summer months we had shows in Uttarakhand. In the earlier days, of course, we had shows in other parts of the country when the British era was there. Then you had people, Britishers living in Darjeeling and living in Missouri and other places. But of course, they had shows from time to time. But Ooty or Uttarakhand has been the most famous summer shows in this country for a long time. And the Ooty shows, of course, possibly the best run shows at the moment in this country. Well, just drawing a little comparison from yesteryears, the dog game scenario gave a fair opportunity to all dog lovers to prove themselves. They could pursue this sport, which was a very royal sport, inherited from the royalties of the British era, from the Britishers to the royalties, from the royalties to the common man. But then, for a long time, of course, at the helm of affairs, we had people like the late Maharaja Jaideep Singh of Baria. Then we had the greats like late Mr. Ajay Bose. We had the greats like Mr. R.P. Mita. But then suddenly the dog game went into the hands of some very corrupt individuals. And as you know, that India is, of course, a very growing economy. We are now known across the world as one of the fastest growing economies and a prospering country. But at the same time, there is no end of corruption, which of course must have multiplied many times. And we are battling all the time to fight corruption. So dog game is no different. Our dog game fell into the hands of one syndicate, and that syndicate completely ruined the entire system that was inherited, passed on by the Britishers to the elite of this country after the independence. And of course, I can tell you that I have come to this game as a youngster, as a teenager, and from there to what I am today. It's all because we had some of the most brilliant people heading the dog game at that time, like Mr. Thomas Matthews. Of course, we had Mrs. Goldsmith, who was the wife of Major Goldsmith, who also ran the Kennel Club for a long time and was a judge. He was British, and Major Goldsmith has officiated in other countries like in Hong Kong in the 1950s, I think. And later on, of course, 40 years later, in 1991, I was the second Indian judge to judge in Hong Kong. And at that time, Hong Kong was under the British rule. Well, coming to my topic, what I would like to say that our entries from what it was in the late 90s, like, I can tell you, our Delhi Nationals in 1995, we had an entry of 1,250 dogs. And Calcutta shows, when I was, of course, a part of several kennel clubs, and I was founder secretary of one of the clubs. At that time, we would easily clock in 500 to 600 dogs, and that is what we could manage at that time, because we needed to give kenneling space for every individual, and our entries were very, very little. And we had the provision that we had, the space that we had, we could only accommodate about 500 dogs, which is about 250 kennels on each day on an average, because our dog shows spread onto 2 days. But later on, as times went by and the syndicate took over, the dog shows have lost its grace, and it is a disgrace sport. Whoever is now competing at dog shows are, of course, will be known that they have been bribing, and the judges who are judging are accepting the bribe. Not only the judges, the secretary, everybody, the nexus, which starts from the syndicate down to all the officials of the dog game, is all involved in this corrupt system. Now, the other thing is, now what are the entries like? Well, it's very interesting. We have had shows in places like Silchar and other places where, of course, there are some cooked up entries, but the present dogs were 19, 20, 30 dogs for championship shows. And these small shows nowadays, they don't invite foreign judges, because that will expose them to the, the very bad state of the dog shows that we are having in this country. So what they do is, for the bigger shows, what are the bigger shows like? 100, 150 dogs would be present, and the entries will be cooked up to 300, 400 dogs. People who don't even know that, how their entries are getting to be recorded in books are being entered. Means there are some agents who actually handle dog registration papers. Dog registration papers is a hoax. There are agents who collect from their agents some dog registration and are sent to the syndicate. The syndicate, of course, for a huge amount, like 1,000 rupees or 800 or whatever, generates a lot of false registration papers. And then, of course, the other thing is, then all these smuggled dogs, which are, of course, certified as imported dogs by the syndicate, which is illegal. But then, that is what is happening, because who bothers? Because in this country, we already have a lot of problems, a huge population, and the ever-growing problems must be tended to. So people just really don't bother. Well, they think that is, when there is corruption in the rampant all across the country, what is a dog show? So, it is acceptable that there will be a lot of corrupt people involved with it. Now, that is a very sad state of affairs. It was never so. But just one single person could destroy the entire credibility of a nation's dog show, which is very unfortunate. But anyway, times will change. Matters are in court. Lot of money had to be refunded back to the club because it was all swindled. I repeat, swindled. But anyway, we have to have patience, because every country has its own laws. Our laws are slow to catch up. So, but it will catch up sooner or later, and our dog game will be rid of this corrupt person and his stooges. Now comes to the dog shows. Why don't we realize that we are getting all these foreign judges, from different countries? We're not even evaluating how good they are. Most of these judges they won't be able to have a dialogue on dogs with serious exhibitors with knowledge. They wouldn't bother. I'll tell you, what breeds have they bred? What quality? Do they know their standards? But then, they are people well connected. They are either, wives or they are powerful people. Because with this European company, all these Asian countries, they have all, every country they have, one or two persons who are actually the agents. And these agents are powerful. They are not only judges, all their associates are judges. So they are the people who are actually manipulating most of the shows. And here in India, all these small clubs now the clubs don't have entries. Now, just let me tell you a simple calculation. Now we have about 50 breeds. Say we take 50 breeds present in a dog show, which is average 40 to 50 breeds. Now, if there are 2 or 3 of, in each breed, representing each breed, then how many you do have? 100, over 100 dogs, 150 dogs. That's all. So you have 2 or 3 dogs. That's it. Some, of course, few breeds will have a little more, and many breeds will have 1 or 2 entries, maybe 1. So finally, it's only on an average, if we just average out the entire dogs and to a number of breeds that are shown, there are 2 or 3 in each, on an average 2 or 3 for each breed. Now, means what are the direction? What are we achieving? We are just getting in some dogs, poor quality dogs. Of course, they have to win because in the dog show there are only poor dogs in most of the breeds, and only means a couple of breeds, maybe a few good German shepherds, a couple of maximum golden retrievers, and a few, of course, Labradors. Dachshund, there's only standard smooths, few, and that's it. Maybe all average dogs. Otherwise, mostly, maybe sometimes you might have a good cock spaniel, but then all this, then you have a host of course, imported dogs, which are called imported, but they're actually smuggled in mostly because imports are not easy, is not allowed generally without a proper permit. And most of the dogs come without permits, so they are all actually smuggled into this country. Now, these dogs, people who are buying them, who are bringing them, showing them, they have no clue. They don't know the standards of these dogs, I assure you. And this has become, so how can, it's just a joke. We're just getting so many judges from all across. Anywhere you just has to be a foreign judge, just has to be cannot be from India. It just has to be from any foreign country. That is the only criteria how you can come and judge in India. Provided, of course, you have to listen to the organizers. Now, all these clubs, syndicate has several stooges. So each of these stooges control a few clubs. Now, some controls 3, some controls 4. So syndicate has syndicates that controls all these small shows now. Now all these shows are all getting foreign judges, and they're all allowed to operate on their own, get their own judges, but it's all money. So the poor persons who are winning, then a group of people join up and say, we are going to sponsor your show. We are paying. You organize the show for us. So there's a group that wants to win, there's a group that organizes a show, and on the helm of affairs is that syndicate. The person who is, we've been fighting court cases to get rid of him and to rid this dog game from corruption. Well, and then, most of the judges just come to have a good time. And they hardly are at all, no sensible questions are put forward to them, I'm sure. How we are going to improve the breed in this country or things like that. What did you see? What is the depth of the quality of the breed? Because all that doesn't matter now. It's only matters is win or lose. That's it. If you win, it's a great dog. If you lose, it's a bad dog. So to win, you've got to pay money. So everybody knows that in the dog game in India, you have to pay money and win. Means even the person who is entering for the first time, he is aware that he has to pay money. Means all these newcomers who are coming, they come for a couple of years, 3 or 4 years, then they get tired of winning. Then they have, all their almirahs are full of trophies because they come back because they pay for everything. So they come back with loads of trophies, car full of big trophies. Now all these, all these Chinese trophies, they're light, they're not metal, they're not expensive, but they look expensive. They are big and huge and gorgeous looking trophies. Then all they don't know where to keep them. Then they decide it's enough. So, but then you always have newcomers coming in, newcomers filling in the gap, and the syndicate is having a ball because there's no election. For some, I think 5, 6, 7, 8 years or whatever or more, you're just bribing people so that matters don't get resolved in court quickly, and so it carry on for years, so they can keep looting the dog lovers of this country. Anyway, I know this subject is extremely boring for the general people who are my main strength, who actually follow my episodes. And not only that, they have a lot of questions that they ask me, and I love to answer them. A lot of them call me and they ask me they want to understand things about their dogs, about their pets, other pets, aquarium fishes, ivory birds, whatever little I know, I try to share it with them. So I think I'll end it for now. But it's a pity that all these judges now the world knows that it's a very poor knowledge, based country as far as dogs are concerned. We are dependent on only, we say 5 country champions, 6 country champions, and it means all these small countries, they don't even measure up to our states. Most of our states are bigger than these countries. As a 5 country, 6 country, and whatever country champion, it doesn't matter what quality of the dog is. And finally, before I end, of course, they're glorifying handlers. Now see, 5 best handlers, 10 best handlers. What is this? I've never heard. Who are best handlers? They want to bribe these handlers. They want to, because these handlers are going to, they are the people who are catching the clients, get the right clients who are going to pay. And they are mostly dressed like film stars. And it's not cinema. It's a dog show. Any day, a top dog handled by the worst handler will win under me, with the best dog or with the bad dog handled by the best of the handlers in the world wouldn't win under me. That is what the judges should do or look for. But it's different, because if the handlers are important here, you have to put up the top handlers. So even the organizers have to glorify these handlers, because they are the people who will get in this 150 dogs. Otherwise, we will not have a dog show. Who is going to sponsor? Who is going to pay? So the handlers are the main agents for the clubs and the judges, from where they make the money. Thank you, and thank you for your patience. And I think I am talking sense. Please think over it and follow what I say and see what is happening around. See, dozens of foreign judges are coming, but very unfortunately, most of them wouldn't have any clue. Thank you and bye-bye. See you again next episode on Other Matters.